If you've watched my previous video on cleaning the data of sickness with Hooponopono, this is a continuation. Today, we'll take a deeper look into why sickness and symptoms persist. If you haven't seen that video yet, I encourage you to check it out first. It lays the foundation for what we'll explore today, and the link is in the description. So, why do sickness and symptoms persist? At its core, sickness arises from a fundamental misidentification. The mind believes in an error that it is separate, limited, vulnerable, and bound to a physical form. This misidentification creates layers of fear, guilt, and doubt that replay as data in the subconscious mind. Over time, when fear and guilt take root, they manifest outwardly in the body as sickness or as stressful situations. So why is this understanding important? Because healing isn't just about addressing symptoms. While alleviating symptoms is important and valid, it's only part of the story. Symptoms are effects, signals pointing to an underlying cause in your mind. So when we focus solely on the symptoms, we miss the deeper opportunity to address the root cause, the error in the mind that believes it is separate from wholeness, from health, from divinity, from abundance. So by clearing this misunderstanding, cleaning the error in your mind, we not only heal physically, but we also experience a profound return to peace and freedom. Now, this isn't medical advice, but an invitation to explore the purpose of sickness through the lens of Hooponopono and metaphysics. So let's dive right in. Hooponopono means to correct an error. From this perspective, sickness is a decision of the mind, not in a sense of blame or wrongdoing, but as a misunderstanding of who and what we are. This misunderstanding arises from identifying with the physical and the external world rather than the divine truth of our being. In this misidentification, we mistakenly think the physical has power over us, and this leads to the unconscious replaying of memories of limiting beliefs or patterns of thinking that create a misalignment in the physical. You might ask, why would I ever choose sickness? I know, on the surface it sounds totally crazy. Now, who in their right mind would choose to be sick and suffer? Exactly. Sickness is the result of a wrong-minded decision. So let's explore why the mind might believe in this and think there's value in being sick. For example, have you noticed that when you're sick, people might suddenly become more caring or attentive? They check on you, they offer help, they show concern. It's not something we consciously plan or decide, but sickness can sometimes become a way to feel supported, especially if we've felt unappreciated or overlooked. Or perhaps you felt overwhelmed with a lot of responsibilities, and sickness seems like a way out. You know, it's like how children sometimes hope for a sick day to avoid school. And then there's the deeper layer, the feeling that life is unfair or I'm being punished. Sickness can feel like proof. See, I'm sick, I'm not feeling good. Life is unfair, I'm being punished. These beliefs quietly run in the background, reinforcing unresolved feelings of anger, guilt, or blame. And then there's the fear looking within. Sometimes it feels easier to just focus on the symptoms of the illness than to deal with the deeper emotions like grief, anger, or hopelessness. These emotions can feel overwhelming that the mind decides, you know what, I can't handle this right now, and it pushes it aside. But they don't disappear. Instead, they sink into the subconscious and they play like a virus, like a looping program in the background. So true healing begins with awareness. When we bring these hidden patterns into the light of awareness, we can see them for what they are. They are strategies or defenses that may have once felt protective, but they now hold us back. The moment we recognize that sickness has no real value, it is meaningless, it begins to lose its grip. We've been conditioned to believe that sickness originates in the body. But from a deeper metaphysical perspective, sickness begins in the mind. The body is not the cause, but the effect, a mirror reflecting what the mind holds. When fear, guilt, and despair and distress replay in the subconscious, the body manifests these unresolved emotions as physical symptoms. Understanding this gives you the power to shift from feeling like a victim of your external circumstances to recognizing that healing begins within. Hooponopono works at this level, addressing the root cause in the mind by clearing the error. It works at an energetic level too, by releasing the emotional charges and restoring peace. All health is inner peace. Peace in, peace out. Doubt is also one of the greatest barriers to healing. So when symptoms linger, you might find yourself wondering, am I doing this right? Or why isn't this working yet? Doubt itself is part of the data you're here to clean. Doubt means you have placed trust in the body, in the external world, of the symptoms themselves, instead of placing trust in divinity, in that higher possibility, and recognizing the truth within you. It's an error in your thinking, a belief that you're limited, separate, and vulnerable to external forces. And this is the error that Hooponopono aims to correct. Concern and worry over lingering symptoms might feel like care or genuine concern, but it's actually a subtle form of self-attack. It reinforces the belief that symptoms have power over you and that they define you or they limit who you truly are. Now, the idea of addressing the root cause in your mind can feel intimidating and even challenging. Why is that? Because the mind often associates these deeper patterns with pain, with discomfort. The thought of looking within might feel like opening Pandora's box, a door to something we've been avoiding for a long time, something too big or too painful to face. This fear arises because the mind wants to protect you, but it doesn't know another alternative. So it protects you by resisting change, even when the change is in your best interests. The patterns we carry, the memories, the beliefs, the mental habits have been reinforced over time. They may feel familiar, even if they're harmful. So on some level, the mind believes that avoiding these deeper truths is a way to stay safe. But here's the truth. This deep fear, this existential fear, is also part of the illusion, the error, the same illusion that keeps us stuck, replaying and reliving the past, keeping a mental ledger of what has gone on in the past. These memories and beliefs often feel heavier than they really are because they've been buried for so long. So what can you do when the fear feels overwhelming? Here are a few steps to help you navigate this with compassion, with self-inquiry, and with a lot of gentleness. First, acknowledge the fear without judgment. You can say, I see this fear, I feel it, and it's okay to feel this right now. This immediately softens the resistance. Ground yourself in truth. Fear arises because we've forgotten who we are. So when fear shows up, remind yourself, these symptoms are not who I am. They are reflections of the error in my mind. They do not define or limit me. My true self is already whole and free, and my true self cannot be sick. Number 3, start small. If trust feels hard in the beginning, begin with a small act of peace. Take a deep breath. Say the Hooponopono phrases in your mind or out loud. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you, I love you. Allow yourself to go at your own pace. Healing doesn't require perfection. It requires showing up, even in small ways. Next, Connect with the phrases in any way that resonates with you. For example, I'm sorry for holding on to the belief that I'm separate or broken. Please forgive me for forgetting my connection to peace and wholeness. Thank you for this opportunity right now to release the fear and guilt. I love you for guiding me back to the truth of who I am. Lastly, focus on allowing. Healing doesn't have to feel like this big battle. The memories, the patterns you're cleaning may feel intense, but they are not more powerful than the truth of who you are. Your body is not stronger than the truth. The truth is, I am. Trust that by cleaning, even when fear feels strong, you're gently allowing these patterns to dissolve. Now, this brings us to a critical point. The root of all suffering, including sickness, lies in misidentification. We've been conditioned to believe we are the body, the mind, that crazy voice in your head, or the self-concept we've built based on the memories, on our past experiences, and external validation. But this belief is the very error that Hooponopono helps to correct. Listen to this, and this is a very important point. This error cannot hurt you because who you are is whole, perfect, and complete. When we identify with the body, we perceive ourselves as separate, limited, and vulnerable to external forces. This perception creates fear, stress, which manifests as defenses and the continual replaying of old data. True healing and awakening begin when we question this identification with the physical, correct the error, and return to truth. We are not the body, we are not the ego, we are not this false self-concept. We are the extensions of divine love of wholeness, untouched by sickness or suffering. Illness is not who you are. You're not your symptoms. The real you, your spiritual self, is untouched by sickness. Healing is remembering your wholeness, beyond the body, beyond the data, and to see that the data cannot hurt you. You're pure love, pure awareness, and wholly loved. Thank you for being here. If you have questions, topics you wish for me to cover, or you just want to share your journey, please leave a comment. Till the next time.